Hey everyone, it's William. I hope you're all going well. I hope you've all had an amazing Christmas and New Year's break. It's great to finally relax for a little bit, and I hope your 2018 is going to be awesome. Starting off this year, I wanted to make a smaller video that I've been wanting to make for a while, but stuff got in the way. Now though, I wanted to share some of my thoughts on the bonus episode for Before the Storm Farewell. Now I know what some of you are asking, don't worry, my analysis video of episode 3 is coming along. Right now I don't know how long it's going to take or how long it's actually going to be, but at this point it is looking to be a pretty long video. I hope it won't take as long to make as the second episode analysis, but these things do take time and I want to make sure it's the best video it can be. So thank you for your patience on that, and let's get into it. First off, we learned late November that the original voice actors for Max and Chloe in Season 1 are going to return. Hannah Tell, who voiced Max Caulfield, and as you all know, Ashley Burch, who voiced Chloe Price. And this fact alone made me very excited for this bonus episode. Now, I really enjoyed Rihanna DeVries' performance in Before the Storm as Chloe. I think she's done an amazing job, especially with episode 3, and if she was going to voice Chloe in this farewell episode, I really wouldn't be worried. But I am still incredibly excited to hear Ashley's Chloe again. Back in December, Ashley did share a very personal and very touching story about what voicing Chloe in Season 1 meant for her and how it helped her deal with the loss of a loved one. It gives so much more context as to how and why her performance as Chloe in Season 1 was so emotional and so personal. It's obvious that the character of Chloe means a lot to Ashley, so I think it's great that she's got the opportunity now to step back into her shoes, and I think it's going to make Farewell all the more special. I was initially worried about Max having a different voice actor. Hannah Tell gave such a unique and special voice to Max in Season 1 that it's hard to imagine anyone ever replacing her. Some of the voice actors that were introduced in Before the Storm due to the voice acting strike, I have to admit weren't too great, such as Samuel. I never talked about this, but Samuel's voice bothered me a lot in episode 2. It's nowhere near the original Samuel. So I guess what I'm saying is that there was potential for a different voice actor to, I guess, lessen the enjoyment of the bonus episode, especially if it was replacing a voice such as Hannah's. To be fair, I did think the same thing about Chloe having a new voice actor when Before the Storm was originally announced, and that turned out pretty good, so maybe I was just worrying for nothing. Learning that Hannah will reprise her role was definitely a sigh of relief though. In terms of what we actually know about this episode for sure, there's not too many details available at the moment. We know it'll be a prequel to Before the Storm, and you play as a young Max Caulfield, but in terms of what year it's set in or what the story is going to be about is unclear. But we can speculate a little bit from the details we see in the farewell video and some other things. In the trailer for the deluxe edition of Before the Storm, we can see a little note with the date July 28th, 2007 and the names Max and Chloe written on it, which if it was set on this date would put it nearly 3 years behind the events of Before the Storm and around a year before William's death, and Bongo's death as well. Be pretty cool if we saw Bongo. Both Hannah and Ashley described this episode as a way to see Chloe and Max's friendship in a light we haven't really seen before, when there's no tornadoes of impending doom to worry about and we see a much more relaxed best friend dynamic between the two. Ashley also makes a note that this is very much a Chloe before we've seen how much the world has shaken her and taken things from her. Further indication that whenever Farewell takes place, it's at least well before William leaves to pick up Joyce. But there's other things that point towards Farewell taking place a little closer and maybe even after William's death. If we look at a quick screenshot of the farewell video, we can make out some of the script for the episode. Most of these are lines that we hear Hannah and Ashley actually speak in the video, except for the last 3. This is so cool, there's so much to look at from Chloe. Is your mom going to mind about this mess? Said by Max. And dunno, I thought they'd be home by now, said by Chloe, whose parents it seems are taking a while to get home. It might be a long shot, but this could mean that Farewell takes place on the same day William leaves to pick up Joyce, the last day Chloe and Max have together as carefree friends. It's the same day Max goes back in time and changes things between episode 3 and 4 in the first season. How this affects this episode, considering there's a few different versions of how Max leaves this scene because of wibbly wobbly time travel stuff, is unclear right now, so I'll come back to this later. So it's possible that Farewell might take place around William's death, but it's also possible that it might take place after his death instead. or at the very least, maybe a part of Farewell will take place after his passing and when Max leaves for Seattle. Going back a few months ago to a live stream with Chris Floyd, the co-game director, and Toby Palm, the community manager, they do talk a little bit about Farewell. They don't really reveal much, but what they do mention is interesting.
And we've titled it Farewell because, you know, it's if you think about it, it takes place, you know, when you play as young Max, essentially, when she's saying farewell to a lot of people in her life. But it's almost like a farewell for fans as well.
Farewell to Arcadia Bay, maybe?
Possibly, you know, for now, at least.
Yeah.
Max saying farewell to a lot of people in her life, and maybe even Arcadia Bay, could definitely be an indication that Farewell, or maybe a part of Farewell, takes place the same day Max leaves for Seattle, saying goodbye to Joyce and maybe some other friends, and then saying goodbye to Chloe, which, if that's the case, is going to be pretty fucking sad, dude. Not ready. Anywho, there's plenty of possibilities of when and where Farewell will take place, and I'm incredibly excited to learn more. But it's time I got to the actual subject of the video. What do I hope to see in Farewell? I think Deck 9 have made it pretty clear that this episode is more of a gift to the fans, for the people like myself who really loved Max in Season 1 and who want one last chance to visit Arcadia Bay in her shoes. And if all this episode did was just that, I'd probably still love it. But on some level, I do hope there's something more here than just fan service. If we're seeing a different side to Max and Chloe's friendship we haven't seen before, show us a different side to Arcadia Bay we haven't seen before. Maybe explore who Max's parents are. We know their names are Ryan and Vanessa Caulfield and that they're probably well off, but that's about all we know. Give us an insight into what went into the decision to move to Seattle, their relationship with Joyce and possibly William, depending on when it takes place. We don't really know too much about the story in Farewell other than it's a prequel to the prequel, so I imagine it'll probably be its own experience story-wise, which, if that's the case, I think would be a pretty great and interesting opportunity to tell us a different kind of story in Life is Strange. One that doesn't have to set up other choices in another episode and can be more of a traditional, contained beginning, middle and end story, something that, sure, goes against what makes Life is Strange special narrative-wise, but I think this bonus episode would be a great opportunity to experiment and see if something like this would still make for a great story in Life is Strange. If they did go down this route, I would be very interested to see what they do with it. But even if they don't do any of these things and it's just Max and Chloe having pirate adventures, I'd probably still love it. I purchased the deluxe edition twice with the expectation that it is just fan service. I think the reason they're making this episode in the first place is just to please the fans, and I don't have any issues if it's just that. But the opportunity to be something more and try something new is there, and I think it would be hella cool if they took it. Another thing I would be a little disappointed if they didn't include it in Farewell, the music. I loved Jonathan Morelli's composed themes for the original Life is Strange, and I think it gave the story and its characters a level of intimacy you don't see often in other video games. So I think it would be amazing if we could hear some of his great tracks used again in Farewell. Same going for some of the licensed music used in Season 1. If we hear Obstacles by Sid Matters at any point, you can guarantee feels will be felt. I think it would still be pretty cool if they used new music that still has that indie, chill, Life is Strange vibe we all know and love. And even if they can't use Jonathan Morelli's music for legal reasons or whatever, I think even just covering his themes, like the Chloe and Max theme, would be okay, depending on if the actual covers are good. It kind of goes back to my worries of having a different voice actor. Whichever way it happens, I would love and am hoping for the music in Season 1 to make its way into Farewell. And yeah, that's actually kind of it for what I'm hoping to see in Farewell. Seeing a different side to Arcadia Bay, exploring who Max's parents are, a different direction on the storytelling, and the very special music from Jonathan Morelli. Of course, there are smaller things that I hope for as well. I hope it's not as buggy as one of the more recently released episodes. I hope we get to see Max's diary again in the pause screen, more of William and Bongo if it takes place in times when they're alive. Even small things like seeing the history behind some certain environmental storytelling objects in Season 1. the spilling of the wine on the carpet incident, or Chloe and Max's drawing outside on the cardboard, seeing how and when Chloe and Max made their mark on Arcadia Bay, maybe some history on the tree fort they built and marked on this map on the cliffs, seeing who threw this basketball up here. Whenever I was in this area for capturing footage, I was always bothered by this damn basketball. Why can't I knock it off? At least give me some backstory on whose fault it is for it being here. Anyway, there's a lot of things that I'd love to explore and learn more about, but I think these 4 things, if implemented in this episode and implemented well, could definitely make Farewell feel all the more special and all the more painful when we say our goodbyes to these characters we've fallen in love with over the years. I think it's going to be pretty sad that this is the last piece of Life is Strange content we'll get for now, and maybe even the last piece of content we'll get for Max and Chloe for a while. So I'm definitely excited to play Farewell, but my one real last hope is that it's not Farewell. Instead, it's just until next time.
My powers might not last, Chloe.
That's okay. We will. Forever.
Before I end the video, I just wanted to say that we did hit over 1,000 subscribers a little over a week ago, and I just have to say that is amazing. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for joining me on this journey as we play Before the Storm and talk about Before the Storm, liking and commenting on my videos. I really love the conversations we have whenever we dissect an episode, so I really appreciate everyone taking the time to give their thoughts and feedback. It's all just been amazing so far. I don't want to give too many details away, but I do have a lot of exciting things planned for 2018. Maybe involving Season 1, and maybe involving some more analysis videos, who knows? But trust me, it's going to be awesome. Of course, we have Season 2 in the works by Don't Nod, maybe coming around the end of 2018, although that's not really confirmed, but if we do hear anything on it, rest assured I will cover it here. And of course, we still have a lot of Before the Storm content to go. My episode 3 analysis video, as I mentioned, is coming along, and now all of my focus will be on making that video. So I probably won't be uploading anything else in the meantime, and that meantime is probably going to last for a while. Once again though, thank you so much for all of your time during this journey, and I hope you have an amazing day.